Ladies and gentlemen, this next contest, scheduled for one fall, is a no disqualifications match.
This is going to be a very intense altercation. This is going to be almost a variation of a hired hitman. Come for this individual.
Introducing first, making his way to the ring, weighing in at 232 pounds, the embodiment of evil, Krimson.
Krimson created Gory in his own image when he formed the Dead Wrestling Society. But when Gory formed the Culmination here in Premier, Gory realized in his eyes the student had surpassed the teacher as far as how much evil he embodies. Krimson has been out to show Gory that what he created, he can one day destroy, but Gory's been ducking Krimson. We saw Remy LeVay put in the way, and now this man we're about to see, Gory has specifically demanded Krimson face, and Gory has refused a matchup with his one-time leader.
Weighing in at 172 pounds, G-Raver.
G-Raver is not an official member of the Culmination, but he and Gory have a years-long history as a tag team, in both exclusively as a tag team and in groups in other organizations throughout the tri-state area. G-Raver may best be known from Combat Zone Wrestling, CZW, as one-third of The Awakening throughout much of 2017 with Stockade and Father Matt Tremont. G-Raver now comes at the behest of his buddy Gory. And there's not many people who are on a personal relationship basis with Gory. G-Raver's one of them. This guy, I believe his vest says "Watch the World Burn." That is pretty telling of G-Raver's mindset. He's he's a tattoo artist, but man, how do you describe this guy? Demented tattoo artist. I've seen him use his tattoo needles as weapons in matches. I've seen him just have some sick tendencies, and these are just two of the most unconscionable people I've ever met in my life. One-on-one, no disqualification.
Well, it's two guys that are cut from the same cloth, as weird and demented and evil as that cloth is. And they have one common denominator, and that's Gory. And the Gory that G-Raver knew is directly from Krimson. So this is going to be an interesting style, and these two are going to be right at home in this environment, no doubt about it.
Raver almost daring Krimson to hit him, and that's not something you want to do.
And even though I believe this is their first matchup, is it not?
That's what I understand.
This is certainly not going to be one of those feeling out processes. No. They're going to go balls to the wall, to use a phrase, and just start throwing everything they can at one another.
Do you think Krimson is looking at G-Raver and seeing Gory?
He absolutely has to be. And for G-Raver, it's obviously a favor for a friend, as weird as that is to say.
Oh!
And Joe, that would be the ding.
That is. And choking Raver with the bell hammer now across the back of the head.
But for G-Raver, it's about a gift for a friend and also a gift to himself to put somebody in the kind of punishment and the environment that he loves. We know Combat Zone Wrestling, that it's ultra violent. It prides itself on violence and just bloodletting activities in some ways, and that's G-Raver's element. But more importantly, it's Krimson's as well.
Krimson hard into the rail, and Raver elevated. Good grief! Raver landed on one of those chairs. There was no give in that chair. Raver's body absorbed all that impact.
Not a real giving chair. Oh, geez, right into the throat. Fans better get out of the way. I wouldn't want to be caught in between these two.
And Raver sent back across the guardrail. Pinfalls must take place in the ring. That's about the only rule we got.
You know, I'd have to wonder what Gory's message was to G-Raver, other than pretty much have fun, do whatever you want.
Well, I think nobody knows Krimson better than Gory himself. They were dominant in Prime Wrestling for 3 or 4 years. Krimson was the spiritual father of the Culmination when it first formed, until Krimson was unable to bring them the Premier Championship. And Gory took that personally and betrayed a 7-year relationship because he thought Krimson had, quote, gone soft. But in recent matches and this match, I think Krimson's shown anything but.
Well, absolutely. There's definitely not been any sort of compassion from Krimson.
Oh, favor the drop kick.
But the underlying issue with this is you have to ask the question, did Krimson, the teacher, he taught Gory everything he knows about evil, but Krimson didn't teach Gory everything that Krimson knows about evil, and that could come into play very much so down the line. You asked me last month, do I think that this is going to come to a war, or maybe a finality between Krimson and Gory, and I think there will be a war, but I don't even want to think about finality between those two.
2 count only.
But every roadblock in front of Krimson gets Krimson one step closer to Gory. And I think, quite frankly, bothers Gory just a little bit more each and every time.
Well, we've seen a lot of chair interaction here so far tonight, but Raver is up in the stakes.
And this is going to be a little bit different from what we saw with Gannon and Jackson Stone earlier. G-Raver uses chairs as a weapon, but he also uses everything else that you can see around him. Anything that isn't nailed down, and some things that are even nailed down, he'll use as a weapon.
That's one of those wooden boxes that you pack fruit in and you ship fruit in, I think. Those crates. What is that? Raver is a sickening and depraved artist. Not just with tattoos, but those are bottle caps. And Krimson, in a chair from behind, but Raver able to cut him off at the pass. Those bottle caps have sharp edges on them. And Raver just got chopped out of them.
I don't know if anybody's ever stepped on a bottle cap in their life, but just one bottle cap
2 count only.
Will hurt and cut up your skin, so just imagine a ton of them and your body being driven down onto.
Yeah, we got dozens of bottle caps all over this ring now.
I do not envy Dave Dawson in this setting. He's there to count the 3 and make sure it's in the ring.
Yeah, that is about it. And Raver, his own sick contraption, his own sick game came back to haunt him.
And look at those 2 chairs that Krimson set up. Definitely not even like you'd see regular folding chairs. They've suffered their share of damage here tonight as well.
Oh, absolutely. We've got athletes and we've got inanimate objects, both that have been through a lot. Raver able to counter that drop toe hold off the chairs. Oh God! Hurricane Rana just spiked Krimson on one of those chairs, and there's a cover. 2 count only again. Even the official's in danger here just as far as slapping the mat.
Absolutely, with those bottle caps. Not so much a loss, it's Dave Dawson, but you know, when G-Raver jumped off that chair, that one flew, and I don't know if that helped Krimson or hurt him.
They with the knee. They are battling in the middle of a war zone. Look at these weapons all around them.
And don't underestimate G-Raver's ability to throw strikes as well.
Raver the knees. Into the cover. Has him now.
One of the things that G-Raver prided himself on in his start was not only a strike game that was kind of not promoted well from G-Raver, kind of a secret strike game, if you will, but also his ability to high fly, his ability to bring punishment. We've seen him take it to an entirely different level over the course of his career from when he started, but he does have it in him.
What is this? And Raver has, I don't even know what you call them, those little deals that grow on trees. They have those sharp edges. I don't know the technical term for that.
Well, it's certainly not something you want to be slammed down onto.
Absolutely not. But those little, I don't know, acorn-looking things that have the sharp, and Raver got dropped right in to each and every one of those sharp edges. And you can see one is stuck to the elbow pad of Raver. It's unconventional, but it's how Raver's mind works.
Well, those little things, they have little barbs on them that stick into the skin, they stick into the body, and they hurt.
Raver found that out certainly firsthand. Oh! And Jibbit head first! Right into those barbs, and there's a cover! No! And Krimson, again, with Gory on the mind, he will go through everybody from Gory's past and present. He has to. He wants to get Gory one-on-one.
And there's a weird sadistic nature to a match like this. It's different. The vibe is different. The feeling is different. The atmosphere is different. And when you have two athletes of this caliber and this sick, twisted, sadistic, I guess playground you might call it, it just takes it to an entirely different level. And this all brought on, reminded you, by the way, by Gory.
Yeah. Gory's the cause of all of this, but Krimson hopes to be the end of it as Raver downstairs.
Well, that would be the great equalizer in any kind of matchup.
Oh! Some kind of a handle or a stick of some sort broken across the back of Krimson. And now, we're going to take a chance here. Oh, the knees, and Krimson collapses into the chairs. This could do it. Oh! Can you imagine what rewards could be in store for G-Raver? What sick gifts could be in tow if Krimson is rid of Premier Championship Wrestling once and for all by Raver, and Gory will never have to face him one-on-one.
Well, that would be the ultimate prize, certainly for Gory. But you'd have to think that Krimson is going to, if he has a breath left in his body, if he has any ability to stand, that he's not going to let that happen. And I don't know where G-Raver's going, but this doesn't suit well for Krimson.
G-Raver is headed to the back here.
Well, he's certainly not taking off.
Well, no, I wouldn't think so. Oh, my God. That is a barbed wire contraption. I remember that being used in a matchup earlier this summer. Vicky Shane Page completely flattened what used to be a barbed wire laced chair. Raver's found it amongst our debris and our wreckage back there, and Raver has some sort of idea with that.
You know, there's a weird creativity that G-Raver has with these items.
What does he do it?
I don't know if it's a makeshift chair, but that is to give perspective, a barbed wire chair-ish type thing that has been folded over a garbage can.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Raver's gonna DDT Krimson right through that contraption, the barbed wire and the steel.
G-Raver may have taken a second. Krimson able to recover.
Krimson trying to counter. Oh, no. Don't you dare do that. These guys are going to impale one another.
Forget there being no more of Gory. There may be no more of either of no more of Krimson. There may be no more of either of these men at the end of this one.
Missed! Krimson the missed as Raver was measuring him. And Raver on top of the barbed wire and the steel. Oh my God.
Raver went right through that. We just folded over the handle on his other side.
And now, the witch's wheel. Oh, no human could kick out of this.
Here is your winner, Krimson.
Mark one more off the belt. Krimson got Remy. He got G-Raver. On the way to Gory, the embodiment of evil survives his personal playground. G-Raver, man, he brought some innovation. He brought some danger. But Krimson is the victorious party. And again, what goes through your mind if you're the New Age Plague Gory?
Well, you're going to have eyes in the back of your head on two accounts. One, he is the welterweight champion. We know that we've said that everybody's gunning for him. But maybe...
Krimson says you're next, Gory.
Maybe more importantly than that, he has Krimson looking down at him. And you never know where Krimson is. Got to give it to G-Raver. He really, you could tell he was fighting with a purpose. Joe, what did we just see?
We saw a little bit of everything here. We saw an example of... Oh, Jesus.
Well, we've got the Kogers attacking, and Joe Dombrowski has left the post here. We've got the Kogers attacking in the pandemonium of it all. Almost forgot that they existed, as weird as that is to say. See with that just suplex on the ramp. that same ramp that took out Chris LaRusso. Have not heard from him. That is a solid wooden ramp, no budge, as we see Joe Dombrowski out there right now.